Here.
Commissioner Carp.
Mark?
Carp.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gaston.
Here.
Commissioner Guster.
I'm here.
I'm present, so it will be Commissioner Pecora absent.
And I'm here as well.
Oh, did I
Yeah.
say? All right,
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. Thank you. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the agenda?
Yes, I have.
I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So
I
moved.
do have a question though about the agenda.
Okay?
At the end, aren't we supposed to talk about the agenda for the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
So we'll be sure to do that.
okay.
Yep.
That's a new business, isn't it? The
Well-
agenda for-
It's always listed after the adjournment of the meeting, which I think is a little strange, but apparently that's the template that has been provided to all the boards and commissions by the city. So I guess we have to live with it. So, but like you say, Ruby, we need to make sure and think as we're going through the meeting, what items we want to make sure will be added to the next meeting. And if you will note that too, that'll be
Yeah.
helpful. Yep. Thanks.
I move that the minutes of the June meeting be accepted.
Well,
Second.
thank you, Ethelene. I think first we need to approve the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I move that the agenda be accepted as shown.
Thank you, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll
second.
second.
Oh,
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hit the
Aye.
hand, raise your hand. Now, the June 2020 revised minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
Yeah, I have.
okay.
Is there a motion to approve those?
I move to approve them.
Second.
I second.
I think Mike seconded, thanks. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Moving on to the July 2020 minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Any changes or corrections?
Yeah, I think there's a correction to the minutes, but also, is anyone else seeing closed captions?
There were, there were two boxes for closed captions when we had all the windows showing, but with the,
I'm there. Thank you.
Oh, Richard is here.
Okay, there is something now.
Richard is here.
Okay, hello, Richard.
Greetings.
There we
So
go.
is there a motion to approve the July minutes?
I think there's a,
Or is it,
in E, it says that, that I said that there was going to be a request to increase funding with the business plan, and that's not what I said. That's not how that works.
yeah.
Okay.
So it is, the business plan is submitted, but that's just the first step in the budget process, is to submit the business plan. There is no request for funding.
And you
within that.
submit the business plan.
I'm sorry,
You submit the business plans, right?
the business plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So should it say the Teresa business plan has been submitted and then the
But-
rest of it's okay?
At that time, it hadn't been, but it says to request an increase of funding for the commission. And
Right.
that's not how that process works.
Shall we just delete the first two sentences? And start out with the city of Davenport, here's more cases. And I will be looking into getting on the agenda. I think that is an accurate description of what we said.
Mhm.
So do I need to delete the first sentence?
I think you'd have to delete the first two sentences, Ruby, for it to make sense.
First, okay.
A business plan, and then this is in line.
Okay.
And it's also unclear, it says Commissioner Mateos asked for a comparison between the city of Davenport and surrounding cities. But
Right.
then the previous sentence says that we hear more cases. So that question was obviously answered in order to get that previous sentence.
No, I believe in this meeting, I requested for a document of comparison of how we, compare to the surrounding cities. I know you mentioned that, during the meeting, but I wanted to see something, some type of document with that comparison.
So Ruby, would it be kind of a matter of looking at, say, Cedar Rapids, and they have a certain amount of money and a certain number of, so we could kind of come up with a
Yes.
per
Yeah.
case
Yeah.
dollar amount?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I rem-
That was
if
discussed
I
in that
remember
meeting.
It was discussed, but I mean, discussions, it's better to see, it's better to have something visual so we can compare.
I want to clarify because I was not assigned to create any sort of comparison for this, and the way that this is worded, it sounds like I was. And
But I
think
did
we
ask
went
for
over
it.
it. Right, and we went over it, and it was explained what the numbers were and where the information was located.
Sure.
So I was not asked to create that, and the way that that's worded, it sounds like I was.
Well, I think it's going to be I think it's on the agenda for later.
Yeah, but I think those minutes should be corrected because that's not
So
accurate.
What should be corrected? That I asked for it?
how about this? How about we delete everything but the last sentence, and then we can discuss it again and be very clear about what it is we're asking for. How's that?
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Is that okay, Ruby? Delete everything but the last sentence?
And then do we add this to a different?
Well, we'll be discussing this again. It's on the agenda for today,
Okay.
so we can get it straight this time. So any other additions or corrections? So I think I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended with that change, deleting all but the last sentence of E.
I move that the minutes be accepted as corrected or as amended.
So Evelyn, you would move that they be approved as amended?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, on to Latrice, your director's report, please.
Okay. So we didn't have any right to sue letters issued in the month of July and no cases settled. I participated in the league conference call. And we had a brief discussion on the issue with public hearings and how other commissions were handling that. And I reached out to the Iowa Civil Rights Commission to see what their position was on the update for that. And they are going to get back to us later this month after the director consults with the AG. for ICRC on that topic. She said they haven't had a chance to discuss it. And there was also some discussion about the local Ban the Box initiatives and where those stand, and kind of if other cities are considering those sorts of initiatives. Myself, Commissioner Gusser, and Commissioner Boyd all participated in the DCAP meetings. There was discussion there about actions that DCAP would take to have the public meeting for the presentation of the data on the racial profiling study. There was also follow-up on a request made to the police department regarding a recent proposal that they gave to DCAP. The proposal involved expanding the scope of the group to kind of have them focus on community issues rather than the issues with the police department per se. And so the group discussed that, and the outcome was to say that we did not want to pursue that proposal, but we would like to see perhaps an increase in the scope of DCAP, in that it would go beyond just traffic stops. Maybe there should be some review of data regarding all interactions with community members, and perhaps it would be interesting to see body camera footage to see how people are being interacted with. And the meeting where we were supposed to receive that documentation was canceled because of the kind of ongoing larger things the police department has going on. So they didn't have the capacity to participate in that meeting. So we had to reschedule that. I was contacted by a community member to ask that we participate in restorative justice discussions throughout the community. They are considering having discussions both with elected officials, but also with community members to kind of first acknowledge some of the issues that we have here within the city and in this community, and then have discussions on how we can heal those issues and move forward. What else do I have going? Oh, I was contacted by, oh, sorry.
Latrice,
Uh-huh.
just a clarification. You were approached by a member of the community or by an organization in the community about this issue of restorative justice?
A community member. And then they invited me to participate in a discussion, and I've reached out to some other community members to see if we can collaborate on on having those discussions and kind of formulating a plan of how we would move forward. I think it'd be a good thing for us to participate in. And that's not the commissioners, that's just staff in the office are going to participate in it. You all are obviously invited, but there's no expectation that you take that on. I was contacted by the EEOC program supervisor in Washington, D.C., and notified that Brian Heyer with the city's legal department contacted EEOC to submit a FOIA for the commission's contract with EEOC, and they were notified by Brian Heyer that he had requested a copy of the contract from me, and that I had either ignored his open records request or denied it. So they were contacting me to learn why I would deny a request for a public record, and to notify me that the legal department was requesting this of them because they thought that it was odd. I then had to meet with them to explain that this document was not requested, and that I had no idea why Brian Heyer would contact them and state that it was, or why he was requesting it. And I don't know, that obviously that makes for an odd situation for EEOC, because they're being placed in the middle of what they perceive to be some sort of discord within the city of Davenport.
Well, did anyone ask Brian Heyer about this?
I did.
But
And
said-
he admitted to me that he misspoke.
Did he, this is Mike, did he at any point in time correct that with that office that he misspoke?
It was my understanding that he was going to do so, and I don't know whether he has. I can certainly check back with him. And it's obviously one point of contention between the city legal department and the office staff, and it's become a problem, I would say.
Here's one thing that I would like to see with the city. I mean, as commissioners, I don't believe we are sitting over here for nothing. And I think that we have some interaction and relationships, and have some part in making sure that information is provided to whatever office in the city or county or wherever someone is requesting something. So if they got a problem with something, I believe it is just prudent and it's important that they bring this information or send it back to you, Janelle, or Rabbi Cobb to rectify it. And I see that as an overreach and very not, the word I want to use is probably not being respectful of this organization, of this commission. And I can tell you that just bothers me deeply. And I say that from this here perspective, based upon the issues and problems that has been involved in previous sessions. They ought to give us the opportunity to correct this here and so that we can move forward and have a smooth business relation operation with the city and other people within Davenport. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Michael. And one thing that we had, Rabbi Karp and I had discussed, perhaps having a meeting with Brian Heyer and his supervisor, the city attorney, Tom Warner, Latrice, perhaps the mayor, to really talk about this problem. Like you say, Michael, it's really reached a situation where it's really interfering with the functioning of the office, I think, and the commission. And I think we need to have a discussion about that and just get it on the table and get to a point where we can work cooperatively.
Absolutely.
So Henry, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think I think that, you know, that's the important thing, that we sit down with Brian and his supervisors and Latrice and us, and that we, you know, everybody lays it out on the table. Latrice shares her concerns and what distresses her. Brian shares what he's talking about, and we say, look, we have to work this out, and we bang our heads together until we come to some sort of amiable resolution so that we can move forward cooperatively.
And let me just say one other thing. As a career employee within the federal government for more than about 38 years, you know, I don't have to like somebody to work with them, but I do have to be respectful. And so
Yes.
when we lose that capability, it just does not go for a good operating process within a business or anything that people do. And I can tell you, that just really irks me, guys, and stuff, that someone within the city government would take that opportunity, especially with this person being who he is. And, you know, we just got to speak to that. And when something is not right, I can tell you, I'm not going to be quiet. And I don't care where I'm at and whatever form I am, whatever form that I may be in, I have to speak to that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Well, what's the sense of the group? Do you want me to convene that meeting, or?
And I would like to clarify, I don't think that the meeting should focus on this FOIA issue, because I believe that Brian Heyer should be disciplined for this FOIA issue. He's contacted a third-party agency and lied. He has, we're saying misstated, he lied. He contacted them and told them a lie about something that I did not do. And that should be addressed separate from the issue of the legal department engaging in what I perceive as harassing conduct. That should be addressed. And I would also like to clarify, I have previously requested a meeting with the legal director, both directly to him and through HR, regarding the legal department's interference with our actions. He has either ignored the request or declined. So to state it as it's kind of a misunderstanding, it's not a misunderstanding, it's intentional. And I feel it was done in the hopes that I would not learn about it. And I did not learn about it internally. I learned about it because a professional colleague respects me enough to contact me to notify me of this conversation occurring outside of my knowledge. So who knows who else has been told this kind of information? And that's completely inappropriate, and it should be unacceptable for everybody.
Well, I would think all that could be discussed at this meeting. That's why we're going to.
I think those are two separate issues, and I do not think that we should conflate those issues, because this is a very serious issue, and that should be addressed. He should be disciplined. That's not a meeting about their ongoing actions to be combative and rude.
Well, I would think we could ask at the meeting that he be disciplined. Henry, what do you think?
I think that absolutely. I mean, we think that it was inappropriate. It was a personal attack. It was inaccurate, and this is part of an intermittent warfare that's been going on.
Yes.
And warfare has to stop.
Yes.
And those who engage in the warfare have to be held accountable for it.
Yes.
Yeah, because we need to work together. We need to work together with the city and people. And if Brian is interfering with that, is obstructing the positive relationship between the commission and the city, then he needs to be called on the carpet by his superiors.
We don't know the whole story yet.
Right.
No, we don't, but we will find out the whole story at the meeting.
But
We
I don't
do
think
know the
we're gonna
whole
get
story
the whole-
because Janelle talked to him. So Janelle has conducted an investigation. He admitted that he lied. So we do know the whole story.
Well, I don't think I do,
Well,
because
we
I've
don't.
only heard one side of it.
I feel like I'm getting in at the tail end of things and not having a full understanding of all of this. But it seems like, as you said, it was inappropriate, and he needs to apologize.
Well, and you know, as I understand it, a meeting was requested in the past. That didn't happen. I would like to, as a commission that I think is probably almost fully reconstituted with different members, I would like to request a meeting and hope that we can address this issue and all the issues that are a problem. And as Henry says, stop the warring and reach a more cooperative kind of relationship with the city legal staff.
And
That would be my
So
goal.
meeting
I-
with the city legal staff.
Pardon me?
Meeting with the city legal staff.
Well, I think we would certainly invite Brian Heyer, and we would invite his supervisor, who I understand to be Tom Warner, the city attorney.
Mm.
And I don't know whether we want to invite the mayor. The mayor may feel it's not within his, anyone can say they don't wish to attend, but we could certainly invite him if people think that would be helpful, and it might be.
And I will again reiterate, pursuant to the law that this commission enforces, a meeting to address the ongoing behavior is separate from the issue of him engaging in inappropriate actions. And they need to be addressed as independent issues. So those are two different things.
I understand. I think what Janelle was talking about is to flesh out all differences between the legal department and this commission.
But that's not what the
That's
law
what the
is.
That's what the meeting is for, right, Janelle?
That's not what the law is. There needs to be, that issue needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed independent of the overall actions of the legal department.
So who needs to address that?
The commission does. So I've presented that to Janelle, and I guess she's working on it behind the scenes, but I would like to reiterate here, as we're discussing having a meeting with the legal department, that needs to be a separate issue. I mean, regardless of whether that meeting ever occurs, when it occurs, Brian needs to be held accountable for contacting this agency and lying.
Well, and Latrice, that's why I thought a meeting with Brian and his supervisor, I mean, we can certainly ask at that meeting that he be held accountable, that he apologize to you, that he be reprimanded, whatever it is that we want. And it seems to me that a meeting is a perfect place to have that discussion.
Janelle, I agree, and this is Mike. I think the key thing here is that you have the director here that has, where the people, the organization that she works with on a continuous basis has been provided some information that is not correct. Secondly, there's been no correspondence or anything to go back to that organization and say, hey, I misspoke, lied, however we want to characterize it, and to clear the air. Thirdly, she believes that she's been grieved in some way. And let me just tell you, as a commission, I think we owe that to her to support that meeting to talk specifically this here particular issue. And once we talk this, that clears the air on this here for us to have a conversation about how we move forward with the interaction with other city officials, as well as this here particular organization within the city, and it sets a standard. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. So is there a motion?
I
Mike?
move.
Thank you.
I move. Go ahead.
That's not on the agenda, so I don't think that would be a thing to have a vote on. I think if there's a consensus that there is going to be follow-up with that and there's going to be a meeting, I think that's.
Okay. I would like to have a follow-up conversation about this just so that we can establish a meeting with this individual.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my understanding that this will be on the agenda for the September meeting.
I don't think it needs to be on the agenda. I think if there's a consensus that there's going to be a meeting to follow up with that, then there can be a meeting to follow up with that.
I don't think we need to vote on it.
There doesn't need to be a vote on whether or not there's going to be action taken about a complaint involving racial harassment.
Well, is it the sense of the group that I should convene a meeting?
I for one says yes.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
I second.
I mean, we're not going to take a vote, I guess. I'm just trying to get a sense of the commission. Is anyone against this? Any commissioner against this?
No.
If not, I will convene, I will contact Brian, and I'll contact the mayor, I'll contact Brian's supervisor, and we will try to convene a meeting. Anything else in your report, Latrice?
Yeah, under the old business, the administrative appeal, I participated in a hearing regarding the.
I'm sorry, Latrice, are you done with your report?
No.
Okay. Which letter are you on?
Is the screen not sharing?
It's
Can
showing.
everybody see the screen? Okay, so
I
under
can
old
see
business.
16 through 26.
Okay, so under old business, there's an administrative appeal where the person had, they had a complaint. It went to the commission to vote whether or not to take it to public hearing. They did not take it to public hearing. The person filed their action directly in district court. This was the issue that we discussed last month regarding the ability to issue right to sue letters for matters that are not covered under the state law. So we had the hearing in July on that, and the respondent in that case is arguing that the complainant cannot appeal to have their case brought back to the commission because it's not timely. And so we're awaiting a decision from the judge on that matter. Under new business, harassment, there's also obviously the issue with Brian Heyer engaging in harassment. And then also-
So I'm sorry, Latrice, so it is in the agenda.
This is the director's report.
Okay,
We're looking at the director's report here.
Okay, I thought we were back to the agenda. I apologize.
It's no problem. So there's obviously the issue with the legal department and specifically Brian Heyer, and this has not been a new issue. This has been ongoing for multiple years, and I have done everything within my power to amicably address the issue, which I really should not have to do. I should not be being subjected to harassment. That should just be the baseline. But that's one issue. And then we have the issue with the statement that was issued by the police union, where both myself and Rabbi Karp were specifically named in a press release. And there are individual officers online commenting about me. And this call to action to protect the police has been heard by people who appear to have affiliations with violent Nazi organizations. And they are calling for an armed resistance to the commission, and specifically me. And they are calling for people to come down to City Hall to show that they are not going to stand for this. Myself and staff are afraid for our lives as we have a group of people who are calling for a informally arranged armed militia to come and oppose us. I think this needs to be addressed by the commission. I am disappointed that it has not been formally addressed. I should not even have had to ask for it. I think I think that there needs to be something done about this. Again, for whatever reason, it seems to be perceived that I should be able to just handle whatever is thrown my way, and I should just take it. And that is completely inappropriate, and it's illegal. That is the function of this commission, to address harassment in employment for third parties. We are a regulatory entity, and this is the work that we do. Our staff should not be being subjected to harassment. We should not be being threatened. We should not be afraid to go to the office. This is completely inappropriate. And nothing has been done No one has spoken about Nazis plotting to come down and be armed and oppose us, and specifically Latrice Lacey.
I want to speak to that because I am not aware of the comments that you just mentioned.
I wrote down these notes June 16th that I had gotten about the states, taking on police reform after the death of George Floyd. It told how lawmakers in 16 different states were responding, and it showed that George Floyd had been killed, and the Minnesota state legislature introduced 48 bills. And on that same day, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds signed a new bill restricting chokeholds, and Governor Cuomo signed a series of police reforms into law, including one that shielded police disciplinary records from public scrutiny. There was a nationwide protest against police brutality, and 16 legislations have discussed these issues. As of Tuesday, legislatures had introduced, amended, or passed 159 bills and resolutions related to policing. Colorado, Iowa, and New York have passed policing bills on banning chokeholds, building public database for traffic stops, and establishing an independent agency to investigate misconduct. Pay attention to mental health needs of people in their custody. Iowa in particular, we have given Attorney General power to prosecute public police officers. Iowa has banned chokeholds. Iowa has restricted police departments from hiring officers with records of misconduct. Lawmakers across the country are proposing changes. Patrick Lynch was the president of the Police Benevolent Association of New York. He was not pleased with the actions in his state, and it seems like we're hearing that police officers in our district, our state, our area are feeling like he's feeling. I don't know what we need to do, but I know we need to do something.
Well, and Latrice, it's my understanding that these threats are on social media.
The statement from the union was issued to the newspaper, and
Yeah,
it was very clearly to anyone with any common sense. It was very clearly filled with dog whistles for white supremacists and Nazis. That's the reason that Rabbi Karp and myself were named, the Black person and the Jewish person. There is no ambiguity there. That is very clear. Janelle spoke more than I did, certainly, about this issue to the media, and she was not named. I didn't even speak to anyone about this issue or the upcoming meeting.
Well, and let me say, Latrice, I'm not saying that this is adequate, but I have talked to a couple of commissioners about my intention to make a statement at the beginning of Monday night's public meeting, special meeting, saying how much certainly me and the commission, I think, feels that personal ad hominem attacks by the police union are totally inappropriate. They are dangerous, and that we very much want them to be held accountable for that action, and that we will not listen to any such attacks, certainly during our meeting or at any other time. We're all we're all trying to have a community where best practices are put to use, where we prevent these kinds of problems from ever happening again, and that's our goal. And there's absolutely no place for these personal attacks. And I would invite other commissioners to weigh in and say what you think as I say, I'm not saying that's adequate, but that has been my intention.
So can we
I
also
think
ask for a meeting with the police union or the police department, whoever's appropriate?
Well, they've been invited to Monday's meeting. That's why I thought that was a good time for me to make that statement. And if any commissioner wants to add to that statement, I think that's appropriate.
Let me just say one thing here, guys, and I'm trying to keep my disappointment and my really the way I feel right now out of this. And so I want to be clear that anytime a policeman or anybody that's in public service is in collusion with radicals, with the Ku Klux Klan, with Nazi organizations, needs immediate action. And when I say immediate action, I'm talking about strong actions. This is something that the commission and the council, the city council, needs to address. Because let me just tell you guys, I have been associated or been involved with this kind of stuff all the way from a little city in Alabama back in the 60s up to now. And when you start to crack the door open and when we have and live in a time like we do now with the divisiveness in our country, let me just tell you, if Davenport doesn't stop and do something right now, we're going to have a major problem on our hand. And people like us that are commissioned, that have been assigned these responsibilities in our community, have to speak very strongly. We have to take action that is appropriate to this kind of stuff. There's no need for a police union, a police officer to ever, that I want to be serving in my community, to ever be associated with the Ku Klux Klan, these radical groups like this here. That tells me as an individual that they themselves share their views. And I'll be quiet right there because I might get in trouble if I speak anymore. Thank you.
Well, Mike, I mean, what would you suggest our response be?
Well, I think we need to, first of all, we just got to say flat out, we're not going to put up with it. And see, if a policeman can make these kind of statements, then that policeman or those policemen or those individuals should be some type of action taken against it. But we can't sit back and make a statement. I don't believe a statement is good enough. I believe we've got to say, one, we're not going to tolerate it. Number two is that the people involved need to be, the word I want to use, they need to be disciplined at a minimum. Because Janelle, I just tell you, and the rest of you commissions, how is it that we can allow them to do this and then say we are a city of love, that we respect everybody in the community. And it just can't be something that we tolerate. So we've got to act in the most deliberate and the most absolute manner that we can to hit this stuff off. So I'll shut up and let somebody else talk.
And I agree with you, Mike. And, you know, when I got the copy of the meeting that we had on the 1st, when the community came in and spoke, I listened to that again. And the second time listening to it, I heard, I could sense a direct threat by one of the speakers who was speaking twice, I guess, near the end, indicating about make sure that, you know, we're careful not to put ourselves on the side of something. I'd have to look at my notes that I jotted down again. But I thought, you know, just being said to frighten me or to, and that's not acceptable.
Well, I think we all agree it's not acceptable. And I think I'm hearing that I think that we all agree that we need to act, and we need to act strongly. What I'm wondering is what form do we feel the action should take? Should it be a press release, a press conference, a public statement? What are people thinking we need to do?
I think specifically at the council meeting last week, community members went and cited current police officers online posting things that were racist and discriminatory and calling for violence against Black Lives Matter protesters. So these are people who are posting that these are their beliefs, but then we're also paying them as city employees and they're supposed to enforce laws. I mean, that press release that the union issued was not lost on anyone who has been targeted for this kind of action. It was very clearly a dog whistle, and it was heard by the people who it was intended to be heard by. I mean, if you look around and see who's standing with you in this moment and you don't align with the beliefs of, I mean, these people have swastikas tattooed on them and the iron cross on their hand. I mean, these are actual, they are associated with actual horrible groups that engage in violence and who have been named as being associated with violence and targeting government officials. If you don't align with these beliefs, this should give you pause. This should make you come out really strong against it. And no one has said anything about it. It hasn't spurred anyone to action. And if the commission is not demanding that the city take disciplinary action against their employees expressing discriminatory views, who is going to demand it?
It was my understanding that the whole purpose of the last special meeting and this coming special meeting is to make those demands. Is to have the commission speak out and to the city council and say, these things are not right. These things need to be addressed. That these types of behaviors on the part of specific or individual police officers are unacceptable and cannot go unmentioned and unpunished. That was, you know, that was my understanding of why we were holding these special meetings, make these recommendations in the first place.
Well, I think it would be helpful if, and Latrice, maybe you can provide us with this, but maybe you can provide us with some of the substance of these social media posts. I mean,
Yeah, where is that? Is
yeah,
that on
if we
Facebook?
haven't seen them, then we don't know exactly what we're dealing with.
I went on the website of of the police union right after I was informed that there had been posts of that nature, but those posts were taken down. Those posts weren't there on that website. So I can't speak to posts that I haven't seen. And as far as the police union goes, Janelle and I have discussed her remarks at the beginning of Monday's meeting. And the police union is, and those remarks are going to call the police union on the carpet, because it's not one police officer. Michael Greenleaf was speaking on behalf of the entire union. And those personal attacks, those dog whistles, that behavior is not going to fly. That dog's not going to hunt.
Let me ask the question. I'm not that technically inclined, but know a little bit. Once something is out online, you can't really delete it because it's really out there. And so I think an investigation, and I got to figure out in my mind, the police can't investigate the police. But guys, this is serious stuff. It is very, very serious. And so I think, one, that that we have got to demand that the police chief address this issue and take the appropriate actions to discipline those individuals involved. Now, the information, we can get the information. I believe we can get it. And so, even though information has been taken down, you can always go and grab and get a post back. So,
You can. We need IT to do that.
Yeah.
So I believe that we have to, that there needs to be an investigation. I mean, at a minimum, a serious investigation.
Well, Mike, who are you suggesting would perform that investigation?
It could be the Iowa Department of Public Safety.
I have 2 letters also in my possession where serious comments were made against our director by one person. It was not said who he was. The first person I assume was the head of the union of police officers, where our director and us as a commission were just put down seriously. And I wish I had the ability to write and share a response to those letters and those comments about our director. I think something like that is needed.
Let me, and guys, I promise you, I hate to do this here, but I don't hate to do it because it's really bothering me right now. This is no different than if something of this nature had been made against the mayor's office. We've got an office within the city here that is visibly and physically scared or afraid to come to work. And when we have this type of action, it deserves a immediate response through an investigation. And guys, we can't be quiet on this here.
Well, and let's make a plan here. So does anyone have a copy of these offensive posts
And these threats.
and threats?
Well, let me say this here. I'm going to try to find out. I'm going to try to recover them.
So Mike, you will look into getting copies of those?
Yes.
Thank you.
And it's my understanding that they were sent to the mayor.
Can we follow up on that, Janelle, if the mayor
Yes,
has?
I will contact the mayor and learn what he knows, if anything.
And what he's done about it. Because if the mayor received this threat, you know, was it not incumbent upon the mayor to do more than just kind of pass it on, but to call upon the police department to look into this? I mean, that's what the police department's supposed to do. Has the mayor taken any action about it? Because the mayor is the one who received the threat.
And I would say, Mike, if you can get me anything before Monday night's meeting, that would be really helpful. I mean, I'm going to make my comments anyway based on what Greenleaf said and what was reported in the paper. But if there's more, I would certainly like to have that as well.
I would like to see that shared with all the members of the commission. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to see those threats shared with all the members of the commission. Those statements shared.
Here's one statement that I see. This is from a police officer, a supervisor, and it's a picture of the Capitol in Iowa City, and there's BLM spray painted on it. This is the old Capitol in Iowa City that the great #Black Lives Matter group did. No one wants to talk or fix anything. They just want to burn and destroy. Arm yourselves, as they will be coming into the neighbors next. This same person posted an article about me and said they said this crap wouldn't happen here, about the discussions that the commission is going to have.
Who said
And the
this?
comments on this post are telling people to remind themselves of Megget training, which is target practice. Bring it on. My ground will stand. What else does this mean other than they plan to take violent action against people?
Can you share those?
This is a statement from a police officer, a supervisor.
Well, yeah, can you share those statements and the identity of the officer who made that, who did that posting, and the identity of those who made those comments on that posting?
I'll share it, what I have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we
Thank
need,
you. Thank you.
these people need to be held to account. These people need to be held to account.
Wow.
Janelle,
Yes.
I don't think we can't wait for another council meeting. Is there?
Well,
a
I will
way-
certainly contact the mayor.
Okay.
And I guess the problem becomes, without having another meeting, I don't know that I can disseminate what I learned to the other members of the commission.
Can we have the meeting to, open to all commission members? Who's available? Whoever's available.
Oh, but then it has to be an open meeting to the public. And it has to be announced in advance. And, the open meeting laws are good laws in that they ensure public transparency, but they also make it very hard like this. You know,
When
to
we
be
have
able-
Monday's meeting, is there something we can do to add to that?
Well, I think that all this stuff can be shared at Monday's meeting. I think all of this stuff is part of what goes on the table. I mean, the police, the police union's statement basically was, oh, there was no problem, and we're being falsely accused. But this says something very, very different. That there is a problem. It's a serious problem. It's a threatening problem, and we cannot ignore it.
So am I hearing that, Latrice, you will bring what you have, and Mike, you will bring what you have to the Monday night meeting?
Mike seems to be away. Oh, no, it's,
I'm back. I had to step away for a moment, but yes.
Okay. What,
I think
Mike,
if-
we're discussing, how to get this information shared and concerns about the open meetings law.
I'll send it out to everyone and I'll just send it directly to individuals. And as long as it's not a group message where people are responding back and forth, then it doesn't violate open meetings laws.
So Latrice, can you work with Mike to have his information included with what you send out?
Sure.
Thanks.
and I have
Right, so
yet
to
another
figure out
question.
how to get that, right?
Pardon me, Ruby?
I think Mike would still need to figure out how to get those deleted posts. So I don't know if it will take a while.
I'll look at it and see what I can come up with, and there may be something sufficient out there already and stuff, and we'll just have to play that one by ear and stuff, and determine whether or not it can we can reach back out there and get those.
Well, thanks very much, Mike.
I need to address another piece of this, well, of this issue that's come up with here. And that is, I have to admit, I must be really kind of clueless, because I was unaware of what I'm seeing more, I guess, in the chats about a rally on Saturday of the KKK. I'm not quite,
Where?
I must have missed it in the newspaper. I must have, it must have been out there somewhere, but this is literally the first I hear about it. And,
They are having a rally to oppose the commission's efforts to defund the police because they have mistaken Davenport, Iowa for an area in Ontario, Canada. And they have asked people to come armed to this meeting.
This Saturday? Where did you guys find that?
It's posted online. I saw it in Indivisible.
And where will it be?
I'm not sure of the location. I think it's downtown Davenport.
And this Saturday?
I have Cody just posted something about the Davenport Gun Club. Is that where it's going to be?
It's on the Davenport Gun
Oh.
Club page.
Oh,
Ju-
geez.
What?
John O'Donnell is what is being stated in the chat room here.
Okay, well, I think it's appropriate for us to reach out now to the mayor and to the police chief and ask them what preparations are being made about this. This armed rally is threatening. I mean, they have freedom of speech to say their opinion, but when they carry their guns and they talk about violence, it's a physical threat to our director and to the members of the commission and to the city, period. But that, are they doing anything about it? What type of precautions are they setting up? How are they keeping this under control? We can't keep people from having rallies, God knows we don't want to keep people from having rallies because that's what the president does. What he tries to do with his secret force stormtroopers. But these becoming this is an armed rally that focuses on the resolution of their issues. It seems to be a violent resolution, and that's not acceptable.
Are we wanting to reach out to the mayor sometime? I don't know. Today's Friday.
I
And
will
if
call
this is
I will
gonna
call the mayor
go-
immediately, and I can certainly step away from the meeting and call him now if people would like me to do that.
Yeah, I would like you to do that. Put him on speakerphone.
He's probably at work.
You know, when I read the first letter,
Hello, is this Mayor Matson? Hi, this is Janelle Swanberg. Let me say that I am in the middle of a Davenport Civil Rights Commission meeting, and I was directed to call you. And I'm wondering if I can put you on speakerphone. Okay. I'm going to turn my.
Hey, Janelle, give me 1 second so I can
Sure,
get place so I just
sure.
talk without background. Hold on.
Thank you. Can everybody hear him?
Yes.
I heard.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Janelle,
thank you.
I'm in my office, so I'm on speaker.
Okay. Is anyone with you?
Okay, go ahead. I'm on speaker in my office by myself, and I'm with. Who am I with?
Yeah,
Who am I with?
yeah, yes.
Who is he with? He's with us, the commission.
Okay, let me just explain to you, Mr. Mayor. We have just heard about a very concerning report of media, social media posts about a gathering that's being called for this Saturday. Apparently, it's on the Davenport Gun Club's site. They're saying they're going to be convening at John O'Donnell. It seems to be inciting violence, kind of a call to arms. And we're wondering, A, if you have been made aware of that, and B, what, if anything, the city response is.
So yes, I'm aware of some potential group meeting tomorrow. Yes, I've heard that it might be somewhat or somewhat not. I don't know exact associated with Davenport Guns. We have had discussions here. The police are aware. Many folks in the city are aware. The police have developed a plan, and I have a general understanding of that, and I will have a better understanding of it later. But to answer your question, yes.
Let me ask a question. Mr. Mayor, this is Mike Guster. Are you also aware? Are you aware of the fact that the Civil Rights Office is under threat, and that you have workers in there that are afraid to go to work and are afraid for their safety? Are you aware of that?
No.
Well, I can tell you it is
You
very,
come to work here in City Hall?
because that's this group has decided or has stated that they want to take up arms against the Civil Rights Office, and so that is something.
Can you send me that?
No, I don't. It's right out on the web page there, and we're going to get some information and
So
stuff.
if someone could print, screen copy or save copy that screen that says that, or that whatever says that, and then send that to me at my mayor's office that says that someone's taking up arms and making threats actually against the office, I would love to have that.
Okay, we're gonna get that to you, and I'm in this forum here. I don't want to get into whether or not someone has sent that to the police chief or to your office, but we're gonna do that. And I can tell you, as a member of this community, I am very concerned that we are not addressing it in an appropriate way, that we're not going to tolerate this type of stuff. Certainly when we have actions within my side of the community that there is a strong condemnation of things. And I think it is my expectation that we will have the same type of condemnation of these type of actions, and that we will have a very strong statement out of your office as well as the police chief that we're not going to tolerate.
This is definitely.
Yes, because I'm not aware of any direct threat. If you are aware of that, please send me that. And yes, I agree with you.
This is Ethelene Boyd. When I received a copy of the August 1st meeting that we had when the citizens spoke, toward the very end, a citizen spoke and re-spoke, and I felt threatened. I felt like I was being told that if I did, if under certain circumstances I responded, it might not be a good thing.
Okay, I don't recall any threat. You're talking about someone in the city council office said that, or in the chamber?
Yes, I didn't hear it the first.
I'm sitting right there. Okay, I don't remember a threat.
I didn't hear it the first time either. It was only the second time when I got a copy of it and listened to it that I heard that.
Well, Ethelene, maybe you could forward that to the mayor as well.
It's in the video recording. He says, I don't know, but I think you all want to distance yourselves from this.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm happy to receive stuff from you, and damn sure would talk with the police. Chief, I'm gonna do that anyway. Remember, yeah, we gotta be careful a little bit here because you guys are in a quorum, so. But yeah, I'm happy. Please send me the stuff as soon as you can. And follow up with a call if you want, Janelle, or a text to me.
Okay.
Say you sent it, so I know it's there to go look at it, because I have one or two other things here.
Yes.
Roger that. Okay.
Anything else for the mayor?
Yes, I'd like to just say something. Hi, Mayor. This is Rabbi Karp.
Yeah, go ahead.
It appears, more than appears, that the statements made in the press release by the police union have had the effect of encouraging focused attacks on Latrice, on our director. And that is, there's a very racist element to such attacks. And it's also, aside from everything else, misplaced. Because this is, what we're doing is a function of this commission, not a function of its director. It's a function of this commission. And Latrice serves this commission. So to make her the consummate villain, from their perspective anyway, not from our perspective, but from their perspective, is an act of racism in and of itself.
Okay, thank you.
And the failure for anyone to say anything about it is an act of racism, because it seems like our elected officials would say this is not appropriate and we won't stand for this. City employees should not be engaging in this behavior, and nothing has been said.
Okay.
And I would say one other thing. being employed, whether it's at the city, county, or federal level, if I made a statement similar to this here, my butt would have been hauled in, and I can tell you I would have been disciplined about this type of action, because this is just not, well, let me just say, it's unbecoming as an employee, and it's way it is something that we should not have to deal with someone that we're paying with city funds. So, and I'll stop right there. That's
Okay,
enough.
so
Thank you.
what are you specific talking about? What the statement the police unit put out? Is that what you're talking, or are we talking about this thing for Saturday?
The state, well,
I'm basically talking. I'm basically talking about the language that they use on Facebook, period, and the appearance of what they are saying. I'm talking about the dog whistle. You see, let me say this very clearly.
You know me. Please say it clearly so I don't misunderstand.
So here's where I'm coming from. As a black man growing up in Alabama and listening to the dog whistles that I've listened to over the years, it is nothing less than a threat by the information that they have put out here and that they have said publicly and on certain forms of media. So I know a dog whistle when I hear one, because I've been hearing them all my life. And so, but the thing about it is that we have to, in this community, take a stand and make sure that we are standing up for every citizen in this community, whether it's black, white, red, yellow, orange, or whatever. And when we don't do that, we do ourselves a disservice. And I'll be quiet.
I agree.
Anyone else want to address the mayor?
Just a quickie.
If you have something, I need to get that stuff right away if you can.
Okay, just a quickie. Mr. Mayor, I think we need to think about how this group on Saturday, this group tomorrow has put out a call for people to come armed. Imagine what the response of the community would be if there were a call for people to come armed to a Black Lives Matter protest. I think it would be very different. And I think that that's really symptomatic to the problem. I don't think that, I think when whites come armed to a protest, it's their Second Amendment rights. When blacks come armed to a protest, it's anarchy and danger.
Well, I don't, Rabbi. We speak straight to each other. I don't agree with that. I have said publicly, I have walked with them. Our police has protected them, and we will. If Black Lives Matter want to have a protest in this city, they're welcome to do so. They've had it. I've been there with them. So is our police chief, and they're welcome to do it again.
Well, but you also have a police officer
Hey,
online
just
calling for people to take up arms against Black Lives Matter.
I don't know who's doing that. So if you have that, I'm waiting for that information. Yep.
But be clear, Mr. Mayor, I'm not saying just protest. I'm saying armed protest. If Black Lives Matter put out a call for an armed protest, for people to come with their guns, that would be that's a whole different picture. And that's what's so frightening.
We probably need to talk more about this face to face because I'm not understanding your context. But if they want to come with their arms and they're legally able to do so, then I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter can do that just like other folks can.
Well, that's theoretical.
Well, if you're saying that I am not okay with that, you're speaking.
No, I'm not saying that you're not okay.
I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying that you're not, I'm not saying that you're not being truthful.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm saying that the community response would be different.
Well, I don't know, maybe some individuals in the community, I would not disagree with you, yes. So please send me that stuff so we can look at that and get after it.
Anything else for the mayor? Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for speaking with
Thanks
us.
for telling me.
And we will probably talk later today.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Bye. So I think it's important that we get whatever we can together and provide that to the mayor. So once again,
If you
Latrice,
look in the chat
and
box, you'll see some of these documents that I have here.
I've had problems downloading stuff from the chat box. So if we can just share that through,
Can you just email it?
yeah, if you could email that, Latrice, that would be the best.
I'll email it too. I'm just saying if you want to see
Okay.
it right now.
Yeah, okay, thanks. And if you'll work with Mike to get whatever he can find in terms of the posts that have been taken down. Okay? And provide that to us as well.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
And so Latrice, will you provide that to the mayor as well?
Well, someone is commenting here in the chat box that they've already given it to the mayor. I can CC him on the email.
That would be fine. Great.
Will the mayor be at the meeting tomorrow? Did he say?
I don't think he said. I can certainly ask him that.
You mean at the rally tomorrow?
Rally, yes.
I would not think he would be there, but I don't know.
I would tend to think that the mayor would want to not, yeah, well, the mayor has to make his own choices.
Anything else on that topic?
No, not for me.
I mean, I don't know, we were talking about our response to this and what we were going to do, and are people feeling that contacting the mayor and the police chief, that is sufficient for now, or do we want to revisit this? I mean, it is
Janelle, I
getting,
think that you should demand that HR take action. I think if this were anyone else, they would have taken action. They have repeatedly ignored when things happen to me. I am the only Black employee there in City Hall. I'm the only Black department head. And every complaint that I have made about the ongoing harassment has been ignored. Someone followed me into the bathroom, presumably to rape me. I reported it, nothing happened. Maria Dickman has been online harassing me for years. I have reported it, nothing happened. The former mayor touched me on the ass twice. I reported it, nothing happened. I have reported numerous incidents. This is clearly an attempt to create a hostile working environment so bad that I will ultimately quit. That is very clearly the goal. This has to stop, and there needs to be a strong position that this is not going to be allowed.
We need a letter also in the paper so that the public can see that we are supportive of our director, and we are against the wording of that letter. And
which letter are we talking about, Evelyn?
the letter that from the union, from the president of the union that we got.
well, Ethelene, are you referring, I mean, I have not seen that letter. I saw what was in the paper about it.
Oh, I thought Okay, I got a copy of it. I just assumed that all the commissioners got the letter.
No.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, I also received a copy of, it's not now, it's a press release from the union.
How did you guys
Statement,
receive the letter?
Well, I think Latrice forwarded to me.
I think I was on, I think I'm not sure. Not sure. I just-
Janelle, you should have received it because I for sure sent it to you and Rabbi Karp when they
Well,
were
do
asking
you know
for
what
a
day it was
response.
sent? I know it was when I was out of town, and I did see what was in the paper, and I feel like I know the worst of it. I think the worst is it a fair characterization to say the worst of it was in the paper?
I think the worst of it was at least hinted at in the paper, but I think that there has to be seen in context. I mean, it was definitely an ad hominem attack.
Yes.
I guess as a commission, there are things that some of us know and some of us don't know. And I'm not sure how we can all communicate with each other if half of us knows and half of us don't.
Well,
Ruby-
Latrice, can you send that press release?
I'll send it, but I think there's a duty for you as a commissioner, Ruby, to follow these things. This was in the paper, and I received it from Mrs. Boyd, so she saw it somewhere and sent it to me. So it's
saw
definitely
it.
publicly available. It's
I-
it's on their website. It's on the Facebook page.
Okay.
It's not hidden.
I saw what's on the paper. I do not have the letter that you guys were talking about.
Latrice, would you please forward a copy of the press release to every commissioner?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make it clear that I do follow what's going on around the community. And yes, that is my responsibility.
Right, and it's available
But-
publicly.
But the letter that you guys are talking about, I don't have that. And so if it's my
She's talking about the press
responsibility to get
release.
there, then, I mean, tell me where I could get it.
I just did. It's on their Facebook page. It was linked
Who's
to in
there?
the newspaper.
The
Davenport
police union.
Union.
Latrice, I'm asking you.
I
to
said yes.
please- Okay, thank you.
I guess it's, I just did not appreciate you telling me what my responsibility is.
I do not appreciate you saying it as if I am not giving the information, because I gave the information to Janelle and Rabbi Karp because it was provided to me for a response. So that is how they received it. They are the chair and vice chair. This
I
information
addressed-
is readily available to the public online. So if you wanted to see it, you could have read it. That is the responsibility that I had, which was to share it with them so that they could provide a response to the newspaper.
Are we done
discussed
with
this
this?
matter last month at the meeting? It was very publicly available. If you had not seen it, probably you could have Googled it and it would have come up. I mean, some of these things this is not my responsibility to monitor the stuff in this way. I have a duty to do the work in the office. These are things that are publicly available. You have a responsibility to know what is going on.
And
Is
I
there
know
any
my
more?
responsibility. And
Oh,
I
okay,
addressed the
ladies,
commission
ladies.
as a group.
Hey,
So,
hey guys, hold up just a moment.
That was,
Hold up
again,
just a moment. We're losing our focus here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to focus on the intricacies of where the information should have been gotten from or who hasn't got it or whatever. I want to stay focused on these issues in terms of that affects this community. And one thing I want to say to everybody here, I respect every commissioner here on this here call, to include our director and her staff. And so let's not talk at each other. Let's make sure that we are talking with respect, because everybody is due that. And when we do that, we get so much more cooperation. And I just want to lay that out there so that it's there. And I do want to read one of these things that that was downloaded in the chat here. And it says from, looks like Estes Enrico, Fred, I hope your community holds strong against the social justice warriors and PC principles. And it comes back, Jacob Prius, one of the most racial people I've ever had the displeasure of dealing with, Miss Lacy, needs to be as far from this process as possible, especially since she is a known liar. My statement from Rachel Carney, appreciate the officers that put their lives in danger to protect everyone. This peaceful movement is a joke. The movement is racist. Thank you for your service. Let me just tell you that that is just disheartening for me as an individual to sit up here and read for somebody else out there. Now, I'm not sure if this individual is a policeman or whatever, and he's a friend of policemen or whatever. Let me just tell you, that makes my water boil. So I'll be quiet.
Is there anything further on this issue? Latrice, is there more to your report?
No.
I just had a question. You indicated in your report that you were working on litigation.
Yes.
Is that an ongoing case?
Yes, that was the case that I talked about with the appeal.
Okay,
And then we have all of our administrative hearings.
yes, thanks. If we're done with your report, I think we're moving on to.
I want to raise an issue. The issue has to do, I'm not certain where this goes, but but I think it would be helpful, maybe the director is able to help clarify some things. I've been working on the, talking with many people, including members of the city council, about the city's intention to sell off all of the housing.
Well, Richard, let me just say, Richard, you know, we're in the middle of the meeting here. We've eaten up a lot of time, and we need to get through our agenda. And
well,
so,
how do I get this issue on the agenda then?
well, let's talk about it at the end. We'll talk about the agenda for the next meeting, and that probably would be the appropriate place. Does that sound okay?
That sounds okay.
Okay, thanks. So, taking up old business A, I think that this number is the Seeberger case. I think we need to schedule a meeting to discuss that case. And I hope that everybody has received either a hard copy or a thumb drive of the case. And Latrice, I would just ask you, I mean, I've been looking at it and I think it would be nice to point people toward the most important parts of that record. And it would seem to me to be the video of the hearing before the commission, the decision of the district court, the decision of the Court of Appeals and Supreme Court. Are there other items that you would have us be sure to look at?
I think the entire file needs to be reviewed. I do not think it would be appropriate for me to say not to look at certain things, especially with the involvement in the actual litigation.
And can you articulate for us what is the crux issue that we will be deciding?
That's within the district court decision. And the issue is the basis for the reduction in damages and whether there was a clarification that the ruling was based on the statement and not the actual termination of tenancy.
Does anybody have any questions for Latrice regarding this case? I would urge everyone to be reviewing it. It is voluminous and It's going to be a lot of work, but we need to schedule, it's my understanding, Latrice, that we can have a special closed meeting to discuss this case. Is that right?
I would need to look at the code section again on that, because you can have a closed session to discuss a contested case.
Is this
Would
not,
this- would this
does
have
this
to be
not
gone
fall within
through?
that?
I need to check and make sure, so I don't want to give incorrect information on that. And I think it's all public now, so I don't know that it would terribly matter to have a public meeting on it, but I would need to review it to make sure.
Okay, well, shall we go ahead and determine when people can meet on this, and then we can decide later whether it will be an open meeting or a closed meeting? So how soon do people think that they can get, Ruby?
Janelle,
Sorry.
to clarify, the meeting would be open. It would just be an option to go into closed session during that meeting.
Okay, thank you. So how soon do people think that they can review this so that we could meet? And I think it should be in the next month or two.
Long time.
I've gone through it already, but I do need to go through the whole thing again.
I reviewed it.
Does anybody want to suggest a date and a time?
How much time are we talking about?
Well, it depends on how long we think it will take to discuss it. I mean, when you boil it down, it probably won't take that long to really discuss the issue. I mean, Latrice, do you think an hour will be sufficient?
I don't know.
I know, it's hard to say.
Yeah, and I think when you schedule it, we would give notice to the parties so that they can decide if they would like to come and present anything to the commission on the case. And there might be an issue with the attorney's fees because there was a decision made about the attorney's fees before the commission, but there was no decision made about the attorney's fees throughout the appellate process. So the complainant's attorney might submit something to the commission to request that a hearing be had on the attorney's fees, and then we would need to have a hearing on that as well and issue a decision.
So when are people available to meet?
I'm open to any time.
Anytime after work for me.
So what time, Ruby?
Anytime after 5.
Okay, so 5:30 some night? What's a good night for people?
Wednesday night's normally pretty good for me. I'm relatively free.
Well, we're going to be meeting on September 8th. Do we want to meet the evening of September 9th or September 10th, or what do we think?
I'm okay with either of those days.
Same here.
I have a problem Wednesday nights. Because
Okay,
our family Zoom.
so what about 5:30 on September 10th? Thursday, September 10th.
Okay,
I'm okay with that.
I'm good with that.
So
Me too.
Latrice, can you set up a Zoom meeting for that?
Thursday, September 10th,
Yeah,
at what time?
5:30 p.m. Has everybody got that noted on your calendars or made a note? Is that everything on that?
Janelle, I'll follow up with you, but we should probably make sure that there's no and there is no advance notice requirement for that, to have a meeting on that.
Well, if it's going to be an open meeting, I would think there would be, I mean, yeah, it's, so we'll talk about that.
I'd like to say, being a pastor at a church where often we have evening meetings, that it appears we are not able to obviously conduct all our meetings on the Tuesday that's normally the thing. So that I suggest, rather than bouncing around meeting dates all the time, which I find disconcerting, because then I'm trying to figure, okay, now I've got this, we got that, and you can't build your schedule around mine, and I understand that. So my suggestion is, since we seem to have so many special meetings, that we designate a day in the month where we will do special meetings, so that we have one time we're obviously doing these special meetings. So let's have an agreed upon time that we can all say, okay, and then we know that's when the special meeting date is, rather than, well, we're going to have it this time, we're going to have it that time. I find that very frustrating.
I hear you, Richard. I'm with you.
Well, are you suggesting one, Richard, or are we going to talk about that at the next
Well,
meeting?
the way I handle these things is, I don't say anything. I just let everyone and then I try to make an adjustment. I don't want people having to adjust around me. I think it's easier for me to adjust around the other 6 members, but I would like us to designate a special meeting date so that we're sort of systematic and we're not bouncing around on all these issues. I understand they're important, but let's formalize this so that we're all on the same.
Well, is the second Thursday at 5:30, is that a proposal?
That's fine with me.
So would it be every second Thursday of the month?
No, I think we're just saying that, whenever we need to have a special meeting, we'll look to that date. And if everybody can meet then, that's when we'll do it. So that people can kind of keep that open if possible, but not that it's
Right.
ironclad, and, not that we're going to have a special meeting every month by any means.
Sure. So that's what I'm saying. If we have a special meeting, it would be the second week of the month.
I think we would look at that, that we would kind of say that, and then we would firm that up and vote on it and make sure that everybody was available at that time.
So a little thought on that, and that is, considering that we have our regular meeting on the second Tuesday of the month, do we really want to have 2 meetings in the same week?
Well, and I guess what I'm feeling is we're running very short on time. Let's everybody think about this issue, and we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and come with ideas about what might work for you. And does that sound okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The B under old business, the commission letter. Lee, I think that maybe has been emailed to you by Ruby, so that you need to sign it and get it back to her.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, since everybody's here, when I set up the electronic signature for everybody, one person signs at a time. So Ethelyn signed, it went to Janelle. Janelle signed, now it went to Lee. So nobody else can sign unless Lee signs.
Lee, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am. When was that sent? Because it's not, I'm not connecting it. Was that just today or?
No, it was set, as soon as we had that meeting, I sent it to, it was one after the other that needs to sign, so.
Was it probably in June?
Really? Okay. There was an erroneous email associated with my name that was out there So it's possible it went to the wrong email. I'm not registering and I'm pretty good about getting to my email. Ruby, can we talk offline after this meeting and figure out what happened to it, and I'll get it taken care of right away.
Thanks. So I just want to emphasize to everybody, when you get this email, sign it, send it along. And then Ruby, once you get all the signatures, you will send it to Beth and she will print it out on stationery and send it to the mayor, right?
Sure.
Okay,
I was
great,
just gonna
thanks.
let you know that it's everybody signed, but yeah, I can send it to Beth.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
think it's already on letterhead. And should we redate it? Because I think it's dated for July 15th.
Probably.
Yeah, when everybody signed, then we can redate it.
I want to point out, as I did in response when I received it, that it's my view in reading that letter that it's inaccurate and I'm not signing it.
Now, what
Okay.
letter?
Do you want to say what you found inaccurate about it?
It, you know, there are, the subject of the letter says that we want both the city and the commission to review any proposed amendments to the civil rights ordinances. And I'm in agreement with that. I obviously have no opinion. But there's a phrase in there where it says, of course, the other argument, what has to do with the subject of the counseling of LBG or whatever. And we haven't taken that subject up, and it acts like we're in agreement on that issue. And we haven't even discussed that issue. So I'm not going to say that, yeah, we go along with the particular amendment had to do with counseling people who are gay or lesbian or whatever. And we haven't discussed that. So that phrase it needs to come out of the letter, because we haven't discussed it. We haven't researched it. We haven't dealt with it at all. And it sounds like we've made a decision on it when we haven't.
Richard, I have to disagree with you. I believe when we discussed sending the letter, we talked about the fact that the council had already approved this amendment to the civil rights ordinances concerning conversion therapy for LGBTQ plus people. And we discussed whether, and we discussed about whether or not call upon them to reconsider that, and we decide, and there was, I don't think we took a vote, but there was a consensus that we're not asking them to revisit that issue, but in the future. That's my recollection of that conversation. Now, your recollection is obviously different than mine.
Yeah, I do agree with Rabbi Karp. I remember us, talking about it. And since we really can't do anything at that point, we agreed on, formulating a letter and sending that to the council, making sure that we are included in any of those decisions in the future.
And actually, the council was not required by the law to confer with us on the passage of any ordinance, including amendments to the ordinance concerning the civil rights ordinances. We're asking for a courtesy thing.
And as I recall too, I think, yes, Richard, the main thing was that we want them to contact us in the future. And we're not saying that we don't agree with the substance of what they did. I don't think we're saying that we do agree with it, but I thought the letter said that we're not saying we don't agree. We're just saying in the future, please contact us. Is that a fair statement of what it says?
Yes.
Not from my point of view.
Well, I mean, do people want the letter to go?
I'm just telling you.
Okay, okay.
Here's my thought process. Richard is entitled to his opinion, and as long as the majority of the commissioners sign it, I think we're fine. But you know, he's entitled to his opinion, so
Sure.
we just have
Absolutely.
to differ from it.
So Ruby, you'll know not to send it to Richard, or maybe you already have, I don't know.
Well, I just had to take off his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything more on that? We're on to C, email format. We have talked about this some in the past. I think it's certainly my feeling that commissioners should be allowed to use any email they choose, even if it's the city email. I think for Ruby, that has proved to be the most convenient. And I think for our secretary, who does a ton of work on top of, I think, working a couple jobs and having a family, that it would be nice if we could vote to all use whatever email we choose. We provide it to the staff and that's what they use. And I would entertain a motion to that effect.
Janelle, I would like to reiterate, if the commissioners are using city emails, there needs to be a policy clearly outlined of how that is going to work. Because
this one's a touch softer.
you,
Yeah.
oh, looks like someone's on. Because people can contact you directly regarding cases, and that needs to be, there needs to be a clear policy of how that's going to work. And if
Well,
someone
can't we
contacts
just-
us and asks us for your email, then we have to give that out because that's a public email. The private emails, and again, I think this was previously discussed, if Ruby wanted to create a separate segregated email special for commission things on her own, just a Gmail account, that's different than having a city email account, because anything that's going to that email is going to be public record, and there needs to be some sort of way to manage those records that are going to that email and
Well,
handling that.
Can we articulate the policy now to be that, you know, no commissioner would utilize a city email account to discuss in any way, shape, or form any
That doesn't
complaint
stop
that is
someone from
before the
contacting.
commission?
That wouldn't stop anyone from contacting.
Well, you
So
know,
if somebody contacts me, I mean, if somebody contacts me and my email is public, then the city IT are able to get those information anyway.
But that's ex parte communications.
I just don't see, you know, any
Well,
policy or any law that.
Ruby, do you want me to contact IT and see if they can screen your email so that you would only accept emails that come from the staff or other commissioners?
I don't mind if you guys want to do that.
Would that work, Latrice?
I have no idea if that's a thing, but if someone contacts us and asks for her email address, then we have to give it out. And it seems like it would just make more sense to have your own private email that you want to keep separate emails from. Because if you're using a public email, then the commission needs to establish policies for open records and how that's going to work. Because we have no way of knowing if a complainant contacts Ruby to say, hey, you know, here's some extra information about my case that I want you to use to consider this when this comes before the commission.
Well, Ruby, if you want me to, I will contact IT and see if they can set up that sort of a filter on your emails.
You can, or I can do that too. I mean, I've contacted IT.
Okay, why don't you do that?
But-
Yeah, thanks.
Again, I just don't see.
Well, that has happened in the past where people have looked up commissioners on Facebook and contacted them. So it's not a matter of it can't happen. It does happen.
Okay, so
and when
so it's
someone,
not just the email, even in social media. So should I close my social media too?
we wouldn't give out your social media profile.
I mean, anybody can search for my name and find me in social, you know, everywhere.
Right, and there's an expectation that if you're contacted through social media, you'll have the common sense to say, hey, this person is contacting me through my personal social media. What do I do with this? That may not necessarily be the same if you get an email on your city email account. You might just say, oh, well, they emailed me, I'm just gonna ignore it. But nobody knows that it happened.
I think it's the same, but
Well, Ruby, if you will contact IT and see if they can filter your emails, that would seem to take care of it.
sure.
Okay, thanks. So we'll table that for next month. Commissioner training, we need to set up times for the trainings, which, remind us, Latrice, please, is it 4 half days?
Yes, and she emailed me possibilities for this month. I doubt those will work, but one of them was for today, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. August 24th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. August 26th, 1 p.m. For September, there is September 14th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. September 16th, 1 p.m. September 18th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. September 21st, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. September 23rd, 1 p.m. And for October, October 12th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. October 14th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. October 16th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. October 19th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. October 21st, 1 p.m. And November 9th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. November 11th, 1 p.m. November 13th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. November 16th, 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. November 18th, 1 p.m.
And so we need to select 4 of these?
Yes, so she has 4 sessions. And those are the dates that she gave that she would be available.
Uh-huh. And remind us, please, is this something that can be recorded and replayed for others who can't make the live presentation?
No, she's asking that everyone be there because it's interactive.
Are we not allowed to videotape it?
Well, I think it can be recorded. It'll have to be a public meeting because everybody will be there. But the program works in an in-person interactive format, and so that's what she's requested.
I understand that would be the best. I'm just trying to learn whether if someone, can't make it, whether they can review that. So hopefully that can be done. Does anybody have any suggestions, any dates that you want to put out there?
Let me ask a question. Since we've been doing, I don't understand something here. Are you saying that these meetings are going to be in person despite the Zoom?
The teacher will be presenting live, and it'll be interactive so that we can pose questions to her and have her answer them. It'll be interactive.
It'll be Zoom.
Yeah,
Unless
but it'll be
we're-
interactive, just like this meeting is.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
So what do people think? Anybody want to suggest dates?
Why not do it on a again, trying to do it on a systematic basis?
Thank you, Latrice. for putting-
No
In
problem.
other words, every 2 weeks on a Thursday at 1, so that we have some real consistency rather than pulling out one date here and one date there.
Okay, every 2 weeks, Thursday at 1. Does that work for other people?
Well, it depends upon,
Starting from what date? Every
Except
two-
she didn't provide those
Oh.
dates. No.
Okay.
So it looks like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday in September. October it's the same pattern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday. November, the same, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday. So we know that Wednesday does not work for Richard. Are there any other folks who don't? For instance, Monday, is that a date that's generally good for people, or Friday?
Generally
What?
bad for me Mondays.
Pardon me?
Generally bad for me.
Okay, so I think we're looking then maybe at Fridays.
So
So
how
that would
about
be-
Wednesdays in the afternoon? at 1?
Richard, how do Wednesdays work for you?
Well, Wednesday in the evenings are the problem.
Okay, so we're not talking about evenings here. This is 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So,
Yeah, I'm
Um,
suggesting 1 p.m. on Wednesdays.
So that there's a consistency.
okay. So we're looking at September 16th, September 23rd,
16.
October 14th, October 21st. That's 4 of them. Is that all we need, Latrice?
I hope we don't start on the 16th because I won't be available on that date, but anytime after that, I'm good.
Okay, so the 16th of September, Mike?
Yes.
Is no good? Okay, so then we would start on the 23rd of September.
So wait a minute. Hold on. So we're starting on the 23rd of September?
Right, and so then it'd be the 23rd of September, the 14th of October, the 21st of October, and then the 11th of November.
Is the 11th a holiday?
That's a holiday. But I'm okay meeting on a holiday.
I am too. Does it matter to anybody?
Yeah, I'm still chopping my way through this. Okay.
I'm sorry, Henry?
I'm just kind of chopping my way through this.
Okay.
I'm getting slow here.
And Latrice, how, these would last from 1 to 5 approximately?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the 23rd, what's the second day?
October.
September 23rd, October 14th,
October,
October 21st, and Veterans Day.
I would prefer to have my holiday.
Oh, sure. So the 18th, November 18th.
and November 18th.
So everybody got them? September 23rd, October 14th and 21st, November 18th. And that's probably good because they're separated by a couple of weeks so we can be digesting what we've learned and gear up for the next one.
So we have September 23rd. October 14th.
October 21st and November 18th. So Latrice, you'll be sending out the meeting notice for us?
Yes, I will confirm with her and then send out a notice.
Thank you. The next item is meeting format, recording. I think there's been some question about whether our meetings would be recorded, whether captioning would be provided. It seems to be that captioning is good, that the meetings are recorded. We need to have the recording, I think, for transparency, and I certainly think it would be best if we could have our the video of the meeting on the website along with the approved minutes for that meeting, and have those regularly posted to the website. So is there any discussion on that?
No, I agree.
I don't think that there's a way to post it there with the minutes. And I think that there have been previous conversations about recording and the potential for retaliation or people being targeted after bringing up an issue at the commission meeting.
But isn't it, commission meetings has always been recorded and posted on the website?
No.
I don't
Well,
know.
they certainly were for a long time, because
Yeah.
before I even was on the commission, I looked at the website and the video. I looked at the videos.
That was something that the city was doing. That was not something that the commission was doing. The commission voted to not have their meetings recorded.
When did we vote?
Had extensive conversations about that. And then after that vote, the city began coming to the meeting and recording it, because with the expectation of recording it, especially for in-person meetings, there's an expectation that commission staff are going to be there to record the meeting, not city staff. And so city staff have been recording those and posting those, not.
Well, Latrice, if you could, what is the difference between an actual open meeting and a video of an actual open meeting? What is the difference?
The conversation before was regarding people bringing things to the commission. So let's say someone knows about harassment going on in their housing complex, and they say, I'm going to come to the commission meeting, I'm going to present this to the commission to say that I want the commission to take action on this matter. And obviously that'll be reflected in the minutes, but there is no video of that person's face telling that story to the commission. And so there was concerns about people being targeted based on there being a recording of them. They're bringing an issue to the commission.
But they could not have their face, you know, they could have a still photo of themselves or a blank screen on the Zoom meeting, right?
I think Zoom is different than the in-person meetings. The meetings in person was where the discussion was, because we weren't having Zoom meetings at that time. So there was a discussion about the potential retaliation as it relates to people coming there to the commission to present a matter to the commission, and then someone being able to search up an image of them reporting this matter. And it's different than having a name written on a piece of paper than having an actual video of you.
I also do not recall the commission voting on stopping to record the meetings.
You weren't on the commission at the time.
I was already in the commission when we still have the city recording the meetings. They're still on the website. So when did that stop?
Again, you would have to ask the city. I don't have any control over the city coming and recording a meeting.
Well, would it be something we could vote on for Zoom meetings, and then when we hopefully when COVID is better controlled and we start having in-person meetings, maybe we can revisit the issue? What do people think?
So we're voting on recording the meeting and posting it on the website?
Yes.
Again, I don't think we have a way to post it on the website.
I can definitely call IT and ask.
What do other people think? You know, I think part of me feels that transparency is important in these times. I certainly want to be sensitive to people who who feel that for privacy reasons, they're not able to fully participate if there is a recording. So what do other people think?
We close the meetings at times when there's certain matters being discussed, don't we? Even
I don't think that we could close a meeting for public comment. What do you think, Latrice?
No, there's no grounds for closing a meeting of
Yeah.
public comment.
Well, and I mean, one of the other main functions of the video of the meeting is to allow us to review what happened at the meeting. Certainly Ruby finds that, I think, key to her job, and it's a big job of going through the meeting and generating the minutes accurately. So I think it's very important to you, Ruby, is it not?
Yes, and yeah, I think it's, you know, important for everybody. It's hard to remember everything that's been discussed, you know, for 2 hours, especially with different people.
Yeah.
So
So what do other people think?
I certainly think the recording is important so that there is a recorded archive of the meetings. And that really is well related, distinct from the issue of the public posting. I think we can certainly record the meetings. The public posting, there's the concern about someone being intimidated. I think that's worthy of consideration and perhaps further consideration. So at this time, you know, we could approve the recording on an ongoing basis, which we have both through the videos from prior to COVID and now the Zoom recordings subsequently. So I would say we consider a motion for the recording, so that's established. And we may want to have some discussion with other parties about this balancing of transparency for the public versus the intimidation issue. There may be some useful thoughts from others on that we want to take into account before we finally take a final decision on that.
Thank you, Lee. So is your motion then that we continue recording the meetings and make those available to commissioners and that we revisit the posting of those at some point in the future?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Any opposed? With respect to the request for increased funding, I did call the mayor's office. I was told that, you know, this really isn't the time when the city council is going through the budget. We could either ask to do a management update the Tuesday before a committee of the whole meeting, or we could ask for a joint work session with the city council. I don't know, you know, obviously both of those would be very involved discussions, I think, about, you know, we need more staff and here's what they could do. And I don't know if that's what we envisioned or if we just want to, I mean, certainly we could go to the public portion, the public comment portion of a city council meeting and say we need more money, but I think it certainly has more credence and more, you know, effect if we are more specific in what we want and why. So what do people think we need to do? Latrice, what's your thought?
I think that we probably should have a request for an amendment to this year's budget, actually, to increase funding for training. So that's, I guess, one thing. And that could definitely be done at a management discussion meeting.
Okay.
So I guess
Management
it's just-
update.
yeah, I guess it's Yeah,
So is that something that you can prepare?
what would need to be prepared?
Something in writing to give the city council to show what we're spending on training and how we've overspent our budget and how much we need,
Well, we haven't overspent our budget.
or how much we need?
Yeah, I can provide that.
Thank you.
And let me also say something, please. You know, we can talk about what we're not able to do as well to substantiate an increase or what is not getting done and some of the things that we need to do in order to move forward.
Well, and hopefully, Mike, we can allude to that, and then when the next budget comes around, that's when we need to somehow increase our request and show how many more people we need, and again, you know, the numbers of the cases and justify it that way. Right, Latrice? I mean, that would be the time to have another management update, working session, whatever.
So right
But
now, we're
they're-
just asking for modification.
I'm sorry, Ruby?
So right now, we're not looking at doing a joint working session. We're just looking at requesting to modify
A
the plan.
management, I think it's called a management update, which would be a time to show the city council that we need more, we need an amendment to our budget for this specific reason and this specific amount. Right? And then perhaps we can, you know, we can discuss with the city council at that update, how to proceed going forward. And make it clear to them that we just feel that our budget is woefully inadequate given the number of cases that our staff is being asked to process. Is that the consensus of the group?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
again, this might be a good, I don't know if, Janelle, if you think this would be good now or in the future, but, you know, again, we asked to delete when we approved the minutes earlier, but, you know, just a comparison of what this specific commission has done compared to our surrounding cities. I
Right.
think that would give context to why, you know,
Why we need it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Latrice, I mean, you belong to the group of other directors around the state, right?
Yes. So last month, what we discussed was that there's a disparity in how much money we get versus how many cases we have and how much funding other commissions have versus how many cases that they have. And the discussion was, from my recollection and from my notes, that
Thank you so much.
when this conversation happened, you would want a document for that. And I recall asking if we wanted it before then, and I recall someone saying no, that it wasn't necessary right now. But already I have a document based on publicly available information of how many cases other commissions have versus how many we have and what their budgets are. There are a couple who I have asked for additional information. I'm waiting to get that back from them because it wasn't publicly available. But yeah, that was my understanding of what the request was so that we could have it, start preparing it so that it would be available for the inevitable budget discussion.
Well, we also need, in that comparison, what is the size of their staff and the breakout of their staff and how much, what is the cost of handling a case, you know, for us and for them. You know, we need, these are the types of things that we need to put side by side to justify an increase in the budget.
That would seem to make sense. So Latrice, will you be able to get that, do you think? From, you know, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids?
I don't think anyone classifies their cases on a monetary basis like that. I don't think that there is a like a breakdown of this is how much, you know, it costs to process a case through our office kind of thing. I think what we have is that there are a certain number of positions that are budgeted for, and it's broken down that way, and they have a certain amount of money for training, and the expectation that this many people will be trained, this many commissioners will be trained, and it's broken down that way, and that information is already mostly compiled.
So wouldn't it be, like Henry says, though, a matter of how many staff do you have and how many cases do you process each year?
Yes,
I
I
mean-
have that information from the
Yeah.
publicly available
I think
data.
that's
there
pretty
are
much-
a few where their data is not available, so
Mhm.
I have a request out to them to get
Thank you.
the data.
I think that's what we would need to present to them. I don't think it needs to be too much more complicated than that.
Exactly. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So yeah, I
Latrice,
already have that.
if you'll be ready to present that at the next meeting, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks. Anything else on that? The special commission meeting, we're really running short on time, Latrice. Are we going to lose our
3
meeting
o'clock.
here? Pardon me?
3 o'clock. They're done.
Okay.
The captioner you're talking about, right?
Yeah. And I would say I have to leave at 2:45, so I'm going to try to get us done by then. The special commission meeting, everybody knows, I think it is Monday at 6 o'clock via Zoom. We've already talked about, you know, the fact that I will be making a prefatory strong statement. At the beginning of that, we will be reminding people that the format of this meeting is not the same as our first special meeting. And I think we need to view it as a chance for a constructive conversation with the police chief, the police union, the city council, the superintendent of schools, if that person is able to attend, and the mayor, and, you know, be thinking about, you know, I don't think we have time to go through a laundry list of things that we want to discuss, but I think we need to bring those to the meeting.
Did any of the folks that we invited already said they were gonna make it? Do we know, like the superintendent, police chief?
The superintendent or his secretary responded saying that they have a school board meeting at the same time, so he's not available.
Would he be able to send a representative?
I'm not sure.
I've been giving this a little bit of thought, and I'm thinking that, and I've discussed this with Latrice, I've discussed this with Janelle, but we need, you know, we need to have this discussed at full commission and make a decision as a full commission. I've been thinking that we need to increase the number of stakeholders sitting around the discussion table. Because I think that when we bring in the city council and we bring in the police chief and the police union, and we need to bring in other, you know, stakeholders from the minority communities as well. We talked about inviting representative from LULAC, Jasmine from LULAC, but I think we need to expand that. I think that we need to have someone representing the NAACP. I think that we ought to have someone. I think that we really would be well served by having someone representing boots on the ground. Yeah, I think that we need to have those voices in that discussion. I know we heard those voices in our listening session, but I think we need to have minority voices at the table, as well as our own voices, as we grapple with, particularly with the police union, who, by whose statement is very resistant to considering any change. So what do you think?
I certainly think that that's a good suggestion. I'm just trying to kick it around in my mind. Are those the only two groups that we did, stakeholders that we did not invite was NAACP and Boots on the Ground?
Well, we talked about inviting, LULAC.
Okay.
And are there other groups that we feel need to be invited? I mean, we could, that's open for discussion right here.
Well,
Perhaps
you
Rich
leave-
Hendricks from
Oh, yeah, Rich
the
Hendricks from,
LGBTQ community.
yeah, from,
Yeah, well, you got Black Lives Matter that's out there. I mean, it depends on.
yeah. Oh, I mean, we can include Black Lives Matter. In
I
fact,
mean,
considering the fact that Black Lives Matter is organizing the
Right.
protest, Black Lives Matter should be probably at the table. I don't think probably should be at the table as well.
if we're trying to get a representative of Rabbi Kopp, if we're trying to get a representative of each group out there, you got several of them, and so.
I don't think we can get all of them, Michael. I think,
Okay.
but I think we can get a, some significant players.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get kind of an understanding of what you're talking about. So, to me, then boots on the ground certainly equates with Eric.
Danny Teague.
Yep, it equates right along with his group. So my I guess assessment is how do we determine whether or not a group is significant enough or is not significant enough to participate in this process and stuff. And so if you leave somebody out, somebody's mad. If you don't include them, somebody's mad. So do you just want the major groups, NAACP and LULAC and Black Lives Matter?
Faith
know,
groups.
So
Well, I think Quad City Pride should be there too. The LGBTQ plus community.
okay, and
They should be there too.
as Effeline said, do we now get a representative from faith groups? Quad City Baptist Association, you got several of them out there. You got wow, I can't think of the name of it, but we could develop a laundry list of groups that has an interest, but do we necessarily really need them and stuff?
Well, and I think, it's not going to be an all-day meeting, and
Right.
it is Friday afternoon, and the meeting is Monday. So it's kind of late notice.
Yeah, so.
Someone has posted in the comments the resolution, Black Lives Matter support group, Palomares, QC Air, QC DSA, QCI.
So my premise is though that we can't get them all. I mean, you got a discussion time limit and stuff, and so I mean, I just don't know how we fix that and stuff. So I think you stick to the major groups and stuff. And
Yeah, I think so too, and I think they should be the groups that are you notice I didn't include One Human Family on there. I think they should be the groups that are more closely, are securely connected to the various minority communities. I mean, NAACP, Black Lives Matter, Boots on the Ground, Quad City Pride, LULAC. These are, these are not just about the issues. These are, these are groups that are groups of people who experience the issues firsthand.
So I would entertain a motion. Richard, Henry, do you want to make a motion?
Well, is it, do we have
So
any?
I'm hearing LULAC, NAACP, Boots on the Ground,
Black Lives Matter,
Black Lives Matter,
Quad City, QC Pride.
UC Pride. Okay, that's 5. Is that sufficient? Are those kind of the main ones, do we think?
Yeah, let's keep it. Let's keep it there. I mean, there's several other ones out there and stuff.
Sure.
But
So, does somebody want to make a motion that those 5 be invited?
I will move that they be invited.
Is there a second?
second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I am going to have to take off, so Henry, if you would kindly take over, and I would just say, for the next meeting, I want to add bylaws, personnel committee, and then the special meeting date are 3 things that I would like to have on that next meeting agenda.
Bylaws, what? I'm sorry.
Bylaws, personnel committee, and the special meeting date. The ongoing special meeting date that Richard talked about. So with that, I thank you all, and I got to talk to the mayor. He's been calling me, and I would just say that I think the mayor is interested in having the information from us as soon as you guys can get it together. So Latrice and Mike, whatever you can find, I'll let him know that you'll get it to him as soon as possible, okay?
I also have to leave. I have to pick up my son.
Janelle, let me say one other thing.
Okay.
The mayor was sent this information, and let me just leave it alone. Go ahead. And I'll get back. Go ahead. Thanks.
So would
All right,
anybody
well,
be
Should
willing
should
to
we?
take notes?
I'll continue taking notes, Ruby.
Okay.
Should we have a discussion about what topics are going to be discussed at the meeting on police reform, so that it's not just kind of a free-for-all on the discussion?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, we got to do that because I don't want to be bouncing from one thing to another and stuff. And if we can keep it to the agenda, I think it'll serve us well.
So
Go ahead.
has everyone reviewed the document that I gave you, and then any other research on the topic, and identified some issues that they want to be discussed at the meeting?
I think that the document that you gave us about the various issues, but also the document you also gave us about what the other communities in Iowa have done. That we need to put. I think we should be putting those suggestions on the table, or at least some of those suggestions on the table, I think we need to have a space there where we hear from the mayor, from the mayor and the police chief about what actions have been taken by the city council and the police department to start addressing these issues. What have they done? Of course, we'll need to ultimately discuss what their presentation contains, and whether even in the areas where they have done something, whether it's sufficient. So, for example, they may have talked about a excessive use of force policy, but is it a sufficient excessive use of force. They may have talked about a body camera issue, policy, but is it sufficient? I think that we need to find out what they're doing, what they've been planning to do, and not just let them leave it with a headline. Well, we put in an excessive use of force policy. That's not enough. We need to know what it is.
And I think in other communities, they have formulated a group of community members who are reviewing the use of force policies, and they are going through it and editing it, updating it.
I think that, and I think that's good. I think that I know the police will resist this tremendously, but I think that we should at least float the concept of a civilian review board. I think that that's important.
I want to just say also that I think that we could ask for it all. I think it needs to be reviewed and determine the feasibility of moving forward. I would like to hear what they have to say about it on all those issues, because basically there is great discomfort, disparity in terms of what happens in the Black community, the Latino community and stuff. And so where where you get to the point where it may not seem like a problem for somebody else, it's a problem for me. So those issues that Latrice provided to us that they are working on in other communities certainly ought to be a starting point for us to work on, and let's look at them from a totality rather than a partiality perspective.
So do we want to have the conversation be about those 8 topics and then go from those?
Well, I like what I would like to do is I know that Janelle has already said she's going to talk to the issue of these posts. I'd like for that to be discussed first. And so, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I think the next thing would be those 8 or 8 or 9, 10 issues, whatever was on that piece of paper that you presented.
Okay.
But I also, though, would like to talk about, I mean, we had this conversation, especially after the listening sessions that you held, Latrice, about the issue of reporting. And how can there be a mechanism for people reporting abuses safely without fear of retaliation? And then what happens to those reports? I mean, one of the things that we kind of hear is that people do file reports and they fall into some sort of black hole, and they're never acted upon, they're never responded to. How do we make it so that people can feel safe in reporting misconduct, and know that there's going to be a mechanism that follows that report of investigation and, if necessary, disciplinary action?
Now, is that what you're envisioning as a function of the Civilian Review Board?
Well, it could be, but whether or not we ever get them to agree to a Civilian Review Board, get the City Council to agree to a Civilian Review Board, that has to happen. People have to feel that if they file a report of misconduct, they're not going to be retaliated against, and that report is going to be acted upon, and that it's going to be followed through, and that otherwise you have these people, these officers out there doing it again and again and again and again and again because there's no consequences. So, I mean, it could, yeah, I think that the Civilian Review Board, very much could, would be a good way to deal with it. But, but whether or not we can win that battle about a Civilian Review Board, though, serious addressing of the complaints has to happen.
How do we show that we listened to the comments that were made, and we've taken note of it, and we'll respond or make it a matter of how do we show that we've listened to the concerns that were expressed?
Well, how do you think? I mean, Ethelene, what do you think? How do you think we should show that?
I'm just thinking out loud. They came before us, they spoke, they shared. We scheduled a continuation meeting.
But don't you think by addressing the topics that were, that the issues that we wish to address, that we're showing that we've listened to those comments and we're responding to those comments with looking for mechanisms to positively address those issues?
Okay. What I need to do, I need to look at the
tape again?
Yes, I need to do that and make sure that each item falls within our response.
Well, I think that's, and not only that, but also the items from Latrice's listening session.
Yes.
How do we fit in the story about that group of girls beating up this one girl, and then one of the mothers of the girls came and joined and beating them up, and the police and a police car came with 2 officers, and they sat there and watched it happen and didn't do anything didn't get out of their car until after it was over, and then took a report with the perpetrators sitting right across the street. Where does that fit into that? But that is, but that's behavior that's just fundamentally outrageous.
See, that type of thing happening once is too much.
Yeah, exactly. And the story that was told about the guy's son who was 150 pounds, who was tackled to the ground by 9 and held to the ground by 9 officers. I mean that, we have, all of these have to somehow or other be,
Sorry to interrupt. I just noticed it's 2:50 and the captioner is only scheduled until 3. Do we want to just operate from the understanding that we're going to use the input that we received from people at the meeting and the input that I received, and then start with those topics that are in the document, relating to things that other cities have done, and then work off of the conversation from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's leave these last 10 minutes. We have people here who've been sitting, waiting to make public comment. And
That's how I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, they deserve their opportunities.
Yeah.
So Latrice, you are hosting, so why don't you call them one at a time who want to make public comments?
Is there anyone who wants to make public comment?
I would. This is Laura Rodriguez with Quad Cities DSA. I would just like to comment on a few concerns that I feel were addressed, but I would like to first thank Michael Guster, is it, for his strongly worded condemnation of the white supremacist action that appears to be cooking in Davenport. Quad Cities DSA strongly condemns this as well and is ready to partner with anyone willing to take that on. I'm deeply concerned from different social media posts I've seen regarding the Civil Rights Commission and its director, Latrice Lacey. As somebody who's been participating with these meetings fairly regularly, I myself feel targeted in that broad scope. So I am keeping an eye on the situation. I feel that the ties to law enforcement and the back the blue rhetoric from these groups cannot be ignored and should not be ignored. I feel like if your organization is attracting white supremacists and open neo-Nazis, perhaps it's time to reassess your organization and wonder why they're wanting a seat at your table, why they're in support of you. Same thing for someone running for, office. It would be the same thing. Why are neo-Nazis following you and supporting you? Perhaps they feel that you are on their side. So I would just recommend that the commission does not turn a blind eye to this situation, and that I would hope that the screenshots are forthcoming of all of the things that were said over the last week, including, statements that seem to me like pretty clear-cut threats, even if they are not directly threats. They are, man, watch what will happen, or other such, dog whistles.
Yeah, I'm on standby at 4 and they asked me to jump on something, so.
Further, I would like to just denounce the mayor's response to everything that was said. Saying okay is not a that's not a response. He knew what was going on. It seems to me Athena had sent him screenshots already. It seems that he's already seen all this stuff and it's not news to him. Why would he not have a statement prepared? He knew that the Civil Rights Commission was meeting today. He should do better. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? Yeah, I don't see anyone else.
Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I second.
All the surviving commissioners vote by raising your hand. We will see you on Monday.
I wanted to make sure that I have this correct. It looks like Commissioner Pecora has hung up, but he mentioned that he wanted to add something to the agenda, but he didn't get to say what it was. And then I have, shoot, I just lost it. Oh, bylaws, personnel committee, and the special meeting date. Was there anything else to go for the next meeting?
Well, I think we need to find out what Richard was talking about.
Okay.
Can you just drop him an email, ask him to add, to say, we know you wanted to add something to the agenda. We want to include, what was it?
Okay.
Just drop him a quick email and then add it to the agenda.
Was there anything else that I missed?
I can't, I'm not hearing comments about additional stuff for the agenda.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so then I guess we stand adjourned after only 2.5 hours. No, 3 hours. Let me take that back. This is not a meeting. It's a journey. Okay.
Goodbye.
See you folks on Monday.
Take care, guys. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
Everybody have
You
a great
too.
weekend.
Bye-bye.